Minister of Finance for weeks now where he is going to get a 16% boom in revenues for years 4 and 5 of their budget. Yesterday, we finally got an answer, the equivalent of a 3% PST on Albertans in the form of a carbon tax. If this tax was truly about the environment and not a cash grab, the government wouldn't have announced it during church and Sunday morning football. Is this a carbon tax intended to protect the environment, or is this a backdoor PST intended to fill their budget hole?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and to the member for the question. We are absolutely proud of the plan we brought forward. It has support from industry throughout Alberta and environmentalists as well. And in terms of the timing of the announcement, we planned on making the announcement today. And then the First Ministers were called to Ottawa today. And we wanted to go to Ottawa with everyone knowing what our plan was, not with Ottawa telling Alberta what their plan is. So the Made in Alberta strategy was announced yesterday, Mr. Speaker.
The same mindless talking points over and over. Given this carbon tax was advertised as revenue neutral, but it is clearly just a backdoor cash grab from a government with an insatiable appetite for more taxes and more spending. This government has already raised dozens of taxes on Albertans, and this carbon tax will raise the price of virtually everything in the province, an ND-PST, if you will. Does this government believe that families really have another $900 a year to feed their insatiable spending addiction?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'll thank the member for the question. Mr. Speaker, our government is focused on protecting Alberta's economy, creating good jobs, and stabilizing our core services. What the opposition fails to recognize is what the previous government failed to do. That if we do not address climate change, if we do not improve our environmental standards in this province, we are hurting ourselves and we aren't going to gain that market access. So I'll tell you what we are doing. We're taking leadership. We're showing leadership. We've come out with the most strong environmental climate change strategy. And Mr. Speaker, through our initiatives, we are going to be enhancing our economy and creating.
They're not taking leadership, they're taking Albertans' money. Given BC's carbon tax was revenue neutral because they actually lowered business and personal income taxes to compensate taxpayers. If this was truly about the environment, this carbon tax would be revenue neutral so that taxpayers would break even, but it's not. This is a greedy tax grab in the guise of helping the environment. Will the government scrap its ND-PST, come back to this House with a plan for a revenue-neutral reduction in greenhouse gas emissions?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's nice to see the honourable member is allowed up from the Fildebrandt every now and then, Mr. Speaker. Now, we know that members opposite don't want to talk about a plan. They don't want to talk about a plan for at least 3.5 years.
Do you have a point of order? Not noted. Keep going, please.
We know members opposite don't want to talk about a climate change plan for at least 3.5 years. They said they wouldn't talk about it until election because they don't want to get out of bed in the morning, Mr. Speaker. But Albertans want to get out of the bed and they want to go to work. And the way they're going to make that happen is by having a good reputation and making sure they can afford to pay their bills, Mr. Speaker. And that's exactly what this plan will do.